Anyway, here with reaction, he is the host of the hit show Sunday Night in America, Trey Gowdy, also the author of The Two FBIs. Former FBI special agent, Fox News contributor Nicole Parker is with us. Welcome back, both of you. Nicole, look, what's amazing to me about this case is they got no new information. There was no new lead. It was all information that the Biden DOJ, the Biden FBI had in their possession for 4 years. So why didn't they get the job done? And how is it this DOJ, this FBI got it done?
Well, I can clearly explain that to you because I myself was there at the FBI when all of this was transpiring. And frankly, Sean, that's exactly what drove me away from the FBI. I walked away, but let me tell you, my book is exactly what I state. There are two FBIs. FBI 1 are the amazing FBI agents that just came to uphold the Constitution, protect the American people, and that's what makes the FBI proud. FBI 2, on the other hand, are people like James Comey, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, those that politically and socially weaponize the FBI into doing things that really aren't what the FBI is supposed to do. And I'll tell you how this happened. Basically, the Biden FBI, the Merrick Garland DOJ, they were so obsessed and focused in this time frame on January 6 misdemeanors. That was the #1 priority. Merrick Garland proudly touted that on the 1-year anniversary, saying this is the largest investigation in DOJ history, which again, I find insulting as a witness to the 9/11 terrorist attacks. But what happened is President Trump comes in and says, you know what, we're taking politics out of the FBI. We're going to start solving investigations and doing the right thing for the right reasons. And that is exactly what happened. There was no new evidence that came of this, as Attorney General Pam Bondi explained very clearly, as well as FBI Director Kash Patel. What they did was they reprioritized the focus into solving crimes instead of going after political opponents. And let me also remind the American people, which I clearly remember when I was at the FBI, in the same time frame, they were saying that white supremacy was the #1 threat to America, that domestic terrorism, Trump supporters, Trump himself, biggest threats to America. No more. Those days are over. We're going to focus on real crimes, real investigations, and this is what FBI 1 does best. And Sean, I have touted the amazing work of the fine men and women of the FBI. I've done it since I left the FBI, and I will continue. And what you saw in this arrest is exactly what I have said. There are good people behind the scenes doing good work. Let them do their jobs. They don't want to be in politics. And frankly, what you saw, this arrest, is what Americans should expect from the FBI. This is nothing special. This is what you should expect every single day, but it's so foreign to us because they so far politically weaponized it that it's nice to see it get back on track.
You know, Trey, I would always make a distinction on this program between rank and file FBI agents, special agents, you know, the people that put their lives on the line to protect all of us, and those people that did politicize the FBI, did weaponize the DOJ. I mean, we focus so much on what they did and how they were after Trump, get Trump, you know, the Russia hoax, the dirty dossier, you know, all the things they did, pre-bunking the very real laptop that they had verified as authentic in March of 2020, and then, you know, not telling social media companies they were meeting with weekly the truth that they knew about that very real laptop. And not only did what they did was wrong, but then you see the work that did not get accomplished in the interim. And this is a great case in point, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked last night. I actually read the affidavit in support of the arrest warrant. It was really, really good police work. I mean, to get the image, to then get an identity. I mean, you can't go pull phone records and credit cards if you don't know who the person is. They did a really, really good job, which makes me wonder whether Congressman Dan Goldman ever asked Chris Wray or Merrick Garland, give me an update on the pipe bomb case. I mean, if he's so critical of Kash Patel, who did it in, what, 9 months? How many times over the last 4 years did he ask Merrick Garland or Chris Wray, give me an update on this case? I'll also say this. I never had a political conversation with an FBI agent. In my entire time as a prosecutor, we never once discussed politics. Unfortunately, the leadership. Nicole mentioned some of them, but you got Andy McCabe, you got James Baker, you got Kevin Klein-Smith. That, like 5%, is giving the other 95% a bad name. Unfortunately, they were in leadership. Jim Comey did more to destroy the reputation of the FBI than anyone else I can possibly think of. And the left loves him.
But you know what frustrates a lot of people? And they ask me all the time, Sean, you did a great job exposing the Russia hoax and the dirty dossier, and that dossier became the bulk of information for not one but 4 FISA warrants. James Comey himself, he signed 3 of them. He knew it was phony. And people say, well, why are they not held accountable? Well, the statute of limitations have run out. That's frustrating. Do you believe there's a case for a grand conspiracy? And I ask you, as a former prosecutor who never lost a case in your career.
I think the statute probably has run. And I got that question this morning from someone, Sean. They're very frustrated, just like you are. And what I tell them is there are other ways to hold people accountable. There's history. There's a lack of trust. There's changing out personnel. We've got to be more sophisticated than just handcuff and prison bars. Yes, I put people in prison. I believe in that. I wish the statute had not run. But the fact that it has does not mean we cannot give an accounting of Jim Comey's DOJ or Chris Wray or Merrick Garland. We just have to do it outside the prison walls.
All right, we'll give the last word to you, Nicole.
I agree. And you know what? At the end of the day, I believe that we're all going to account to God. You can run, but you cannot hide, and justice will ultimately be served. We can't put every single criminal behind bars. That is the goal of the FBI, is to protect the American people. That's what we should expect of them. But I promise justice will be served in the end, one way or another.
All right, Nicole Parker, Trey Gowdy, thank you for being with us. All right. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.